evening and welcome to the January 27th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Selectmen. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn Select Board is being conducted both in person and remotely, consistent with Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, which suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed to participate remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For the public to join the meeting remotely by telephone, dial 1-408-650-3123 and enter access code 983-263-437. Or the public can join via computer at meet.go2.com Auburn Select Board Room. All supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. Is anyone else recording this meeting? Okay. Please stand if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so first is public comments. Do we have anyone signed up for the first public comments? We do not? Okay. So now let's look at presentations and public hearings. We have a public hearing and a board vote on the National Grid poll petition for joint or identical poll locations on Walsh Ave. And this is a hearing that's been continued from January 12, 2026, our last meeting. Okay, and the public hearing is being continued to allow for a National Grid representative to address the issues that were raised at the last meeting, the proposed timing of the work, outage expectations, winter conditions, residential and nearby facility impact, and customer notifications. Okay? Do we have a representative from National Grid here?
Hey, good evening. I'm online.
Great. Can you just identify yourself, please?
My name is Mohammed El Rifai. I'm a designer with National Grid.
Okay. So does the board have any questions for the representative?
Madam Chair, my understanding is that the hearing was continued, but do we need a corresponding motion to reopen the public hearing?
The hearing was not closed, so it should still be open.
Okay, thank you.
I know some of our members had questions about the subject. Does anyone want to talk about that now?
Madam Chair, I would just ask that that the representative from National Grid address the questions that you had listed. The first being the proposed timing of the work.
Yeah, so I had a discussion with the overhead line supervisor for the town of Auburn about when this work will be scheduled. If there's concerns about outages, especially right now in the cold of the winter, this work can be deferred until the spring. It is not an inherent danger right now for our system, so we can wait until it warms up before we do this work. There was a couple other questions regarding outage expectations and customer notification. So outage expectations is kind of hard. Every crew is different. Some crews do work live, other crews do it dead. So depending on what crew you have that day, you might have an outage or not. If there will be an outage, notification is sent to all customers, all addresses that will be impacted at least a week before. So you will get a letter in the mail a week before outlining what day will be here, the duration of the outage, as well as a rain date in case our crews cannot make it that day to do the work.
Okay, thank you. I don't want to speak for the rest of the board, but I think I'd be more comfortable with this work taking place in the springtime, not during the winter conditions, just in case there is an outage that has to take place.
I agree with that assessment.
Any other questions from the board? Does anyone from the public have any questions?
Madam Chair, seeing nobody with any additional questions, I make a motion to close the public hearing.
A second.
So we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the poll petition application for joint or identical poll locations on Walsh Avenue with the condition that the work not take place until the springtime.
A second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the poll petition application for joint or identical poll locations on Walsh Ave with the condition that the work take place in the springtime.
Can I just define springtime?
So I believe our winter parking ban and street opening begins April 15th, if I'm not misspeak. That's generally the timeline that municipalities have.
Through the chair, April 15th is the day that we can break ground for projects, so I do believe it's the same date.
Okay, I just want to clarify that. So as long as the work does not take place prior to April 15th, but before the winter
So
season.
I'll amend my motion to include the specific date of April 15th, 2026, instead of the general springtime.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next, we have a presentation, a departmental snapshot with Auburn Cable Television. And Chris Hugo, the manager of Auburn Cable Television, is going to present.
Welcome to this side of the camera.
Hello, Chris. Yeah. We have the copies of the slides here. Thank you.
All right, Auburn Community Television. It's based on Massachusetts state law that governs public educational and governmental PEG access stations, primarily through local cable television franchise agreements overseen by municipalities and the Department of Telecommunications and Cable under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 166A. Creation of PEG stations. PEG stations are mandated by state law, but rise from negotiations between municipalities as franchising authorities and cable operators. Federal Law Communications Act, Section 611, permits local authorities to require cable operators to designate channels for public educational and governmental access as part of franchise agreements. In Massachusetts, municipalities negotiate these requirements directly, including channel capacity, facilities, and operations. The DTC provides oversight but does not issue statewide mandates. Funding of PEG stations. Funding comes primarily from cable franchise agreements with federal law capping franchise fees at 5% of the cable operator's gross revenues from cable services, which is actually based on their basic cable rate. These fees support PEG access, often including operational costs, capital expenses. Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53F and 3/4. Yes, they do it that way. Allows municipalities that accept it to create a dedicated PEG access and cable-related fund. Funds received under franchise agreements, in fact, PEG support payments, deposit into this account and are used exclusively for cable-related purposes. Cable operators may pass these costs to subscribers as line item fees. Declining cable subscriptions have reduced revenues in recent years, prompting discussions of alternate funding, in fact, proposals to assess fees on streaming services. But traditional funding remains tied to cable franchises. PEG Access provides local community programming and civil engagement. Our offices are located at 99 Auburn Street, where we share our studio with the television production class at Auburn High School. We set aside about $8,000 a year for the students of this production class. We also help the school funding special projects, upgrading their audio systems, and I also provide technical assistance as audio technical assistance for the gym, the auditorium, and the press box. Oh, great. Can you turn it back the other way? I double-clicked it. Auburn Community Television, we produce a lot of local programming. For instance, we do programming with the Senior Center, the Camp Gleason dedication, the Christmas Craft Fair. Now what did I do?
Go on this side of the screen.
Okay. PowerPoint. This isn't broadcasting.
One more time.
Okay. We do the concerts on the Common and the Independence Day Parade. I also handle the audio for the band. They've got a good sound system for bars and stuff like that, but they just don't have the oomph to reach out into the field. So we remic all of their instruments, send it through our own soundboard, and broadcast it through our 4,000 watt system. We covered the Memorial Day Parade and the services at the cemetery. Other things we do are police swearing-ins, Senior Center productions, public hearings, holiday tree lighting, and we used to do a program called the Route 9 Veterans Forum, where we received a Rika Walsh Community Impact Award in 2008. Some of the governmental meetings that we cover are Conservation Commission, Board of Sewer Commissioners, Board of Health, Auburn Housing Authority, Economic Development Committee, Finance Committee, Fire Station Building Committee, Library Board of Trustees, Planning Board, School Committee, Select Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, and town meetings. Let's see if I've got that handy. Oh, here it is. Now, of these last year, we uploaded 183 programs to YouTube, 171 of which were streamed live. We have 6 turnkey remote broadcasting facilities here in town. 2 are in the high school. One is in the sound booth of the auditorium, and the other one is our main studio that we share with the high school. We have 2 here in the town hall. One here, conference room, where Rich Head and one of our camera folk is operating. And the other one is in the conference room number 1, where another one of our camera folk, Alice Bromels, is about to start the planning board meeting. We have one at the school administration at 5 West Street, and we have Camp Gleason. What we mean by turnkey is that with the push of a button, we will override anything that's scheduled to broadcast on either cable channels 192 or 194, and stream live to YouTube. We include Camp Gleason in here. At the moment, we can't go live on cable from Camp Gleason because we don't have enough fiber. We're in the middle of contracting with our fiber service contractor, Comtract, to scavenge the old fiber from the Mary D. School and run it over here, giving us effectively 5 working pairs of extra fiber that will be run between this building and the high school. We also have we also have 4 remote, we also have 4 portable broadcasting systems. I'll hand one of them around. That's a YOLO. Please don't push any buttons. I use broadcast. That's a YOLO. That will accept 3 HDMI inputs and USB input. It will record. It will stream live. It has built-in graphics. We bought one for the students of the high school. It has a scoreboard feature on it that kids use for broadcasting home and away games. It only streams to YouTube. It can be programmed to stream to other service providers. We also have another one of our remote systems. This particular one is in for repair. This is a data video. This comes with 3 cameras that are operated on Cat6 cables. It operates the camera, and it takes the audio and the video from the cameras. That records and it streams. Now, some of the projects we've funded over the years are the press box at the high school, the fiber system that we use here in town. Every school building has fiber, and they're connected to the hub at the high school. Every town building has fiber, and they're connected to the hub here at the town hall. And there's a connection between the 2 hubs. Auburn Community Television paid for the entire system, including the initial switches. I think we did that about 18 years ago. Another project not shown here is Camp Gleason. We funded the entire bill for the rebuild of the building, and we split costs on the equipment between public access and ARPA.
Want to tell them about it?
Yeah, as the remote broadcasting piece of equipment, this thing right here, we call this a FOLO. That's a YOLO. This is a fake YOLO. We're in the process of building our own systems at the moment. The units we use here, the select board, planning board, pretty much all around town, they're called TriCasters. They're excellent units, but they're extremely expensive. And over time, the hardware wears out. We can replace the hardware. We extend the life of these things out beyond the warranties. We extend it out to the point where the software no longer recognizes the hardware. So we wanted to start building our own systems using proprietary software. The software costs, I think, what was the last one? $770 for the one we're using at Gleason. Yeah. This one was about 300 something. Yeah. And the hardware is whatever we build, whatever we decide to build. This one's using a gaming laptop because it has the speed and the storage capacity. We have some peripherals here that we've mapped to the controls of the unit. It uses on the desk here. That's an Owl Cam. Picked up one of those under the suggestion of Mike Zeller. They're mostly used in conference calls, on GoToMeeting and things like that. But we rigged it up so that we can use it as a regular camera. You may have seen these in some of our Housing Authority and Sewer Commission broadcasts. It provides a 360-degree view of the room, and it automatically focuses on whoever's talking. And just to be safe, we also have another 4K webcam and a regular camera that's got a couple of microphones on the table just as a backup. That's it. Any questions?
Thank you, Chris. Questions?
Go ahead.
First, thank you for the presentation, and thank you for everything that you and your staff do. Some will say I have no life, others will say I go down rabbit holes, but I am often on your YouTube page watching every meeting that you guys film just to keep updated. And, I don't know if people realize it. On your YouTube page, there are things going back to 2008, even earlier. And what you've done is it creates a document of the history of the town in the modern era, and it's great to go back and refer to. So just thank you for that. And I think that, in my opinion, ACTV plays a very big part in the transparency of the town government. You guys cover a ton of meetings, economic development, even the smaller boards that you didn't mention, that if a resident wants to be informed, you're providing the information for them to be informed. You can lead a horse to water. You can't always make them drink it, but it's great that you guys are doing your part. One of the things that you had mentioned in your in the documents that we got was that you are funded, as you mentioned, through a certain percentage of the cable company. And what you had mentioned was that due to streaming services and less people subscribing to traditional cable, the amount of revenue that we're getting from that is declining. And you sort of highlighted everything that you've been able to do with that in terms of the press box, supporting the school department with critical programming, as well as outfitting everything in fiber, et cetera. Are you having discussions right now with the town manager and the administration, or maybe this isn't a question for the town manager, to ensure that as that revenue in that piece of your budget is dropping off, that there's an alternative source identified in order to keep your, your staff and your sort of level of service that you're, critical in my mind, that you're providing to the town whole moving forward?
Well, it hasn't come up yet. The first 18 months of the contract under 5%, we netted $435,000. The first full year of the contract last year, it came out to $253,000. I really won't know until the next check comes in to see how much we're losing. Eventually, it'll level off. Cable was supposed to put broadcast TV out of business. It didn't. Television was supposed to put radio out of business. It didn't. FM was supposed to put AM. So far, the only broadcaster that's been put out of business by advancement is the town crier. But, I'm trying to put as much as I can back into retained earnings. So I'm not really looking at any big projects moving forward, other than maybe a rebuild of the studio at the high school, either 4K or 8K or whatever K is available when about the time the contract runs out. To that end, we just haven't crossed that bridge yet.
Great, thank you.
I have a couple of questions. What if someone wants a community event in the town to be broadcast, would they just contact you?
Call me.
Call you,
If
okay.
any other committees want to be covered, just call me.
Just give you a call.
I am.
So I see you cover the Auburn Water District meetings. Are those held monthly?
We haven't done Water District yet. I'd like to do Elm
I
Hill
saw water.
and the other ones.
Yeah.
No, we did sewer, Board of Sewer Commissioners.
Okay.
That's when we started. I'd like to cover those, but I don't want to send my cameraman and my camera folk into a hostile situation. So I need introductions. I need them to sign off on it.
So you're waiting on an invitation per se from the Water District, Auburn Water, to cover the
We'll
meeting?
do them in a heartbeat.
In the Elm Hill Water District too, right? Okay. All right, thank you.
I've got 3 part-time camera folk, Rich Hedden, our oldest one. Alice Brommels and Normal Flash.
Okay.
And in a pinch, John and I handle it as well.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions? Yep.
Yep, can you provide contact information and email so people can? I know you said just to reach out.
Yeah, it's on the website. Everything's on the website.
Okay,
I believe everything's on the website. Okay. actv@auburnma.gov.
Thank you.
And my phone number is 508-963-4938.
That's above and beyond, but thank you.
That's
No, and again, we're asking, or we're trying to provide that information, so an email would certainly help, and not everyone's going to know you. I know the work that you guys do, I see it daily, and I know you do it on a shoestring budget or expense-wise, so we appreciate that, and I too partake on a lot of the YouTube aspects. I'm a subscriber of that, so it certainly helps to go back. I guess I would ask a question on, as far as priority. I know I go back and watch things after they've happened a lot of the times, but what is the prioritization of, like tonight we have 2 meetings taking place at the same time? Is there a defined matrix that you go through to prioritize who gets on?
Oh, you guys have priority over everything,
And
other than town meeting.
no, but for the other boards as well, and I'm not looking at the hierarchy as well, but like,
Typically, it's town meeting, board of selectmen, and finance committee have priority. If planning board is in here and conservation commission is meeting over there, planning board takes priority.
But what we're speaking of is only cable broadcast. They all have equal priority streamed on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Simultaneously.
All of, we can stream, at the most we've streamed at any one time is 4 meetings. Literally at the same time. I don't believe there's any limit to the number of meetings we can stream simultaneously. Only the number of people we can provide to actually stream the meetings simultaneously. But going live on cable channels, it's channel 192 typically is from this location, from this building, either rooms. And 194 is for school-related activities.
so I also know when I watch the YouTube, I can see how many people have viewed it and such. Do we get that information from the cable as well, or we just assume?
Look, if you go on, oh no, I haven't been able to, I don't think there's any way we can provide that information. I'm not sure they have access to that kind of information on cable. It's never come up. It's never been included in any contract.
No, I'm just interested to see, again, I can see on the YouTube aspect how many people have watched particular meetings, and some have more viewership than others, so I wasn't sure.
I do get calls when it's not going out live. So
So people are
People
paying
are
attention, which is
watching.
good. But I appreciate the service that you guys provide, and, kudos to you and your team, and it's a lot of effort, and it yields a lot of results, so thank you.
we do it for about $60,300. That's our operational budget, minus, that's not including salaries. We cover all of my salary, half of John's salary, and about a quarter of Mike Marino's salary.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris, I appreciate it.
Okay? He's got the owner.
All right, so next on our agenda tonight, we have, the library is going to provide a strategic plan update, and that is, Michael Zeller will present this, our librarian.
Well, hello. Thank you for inviting me back. It's always a pleasure to address you folks. So as you know, I was hired just over a year ago in January. And when I first came on board, one of my first orders of business was just to start to kind of assess what the community need was, where things stood as far as how was the library doing in meeting what the community was looking for. There we go. And Coincidentally, our strategic plan, our current strategic plan at that point was expiring at the end of the year. And so that kind of presented a very good opportunity to collect a bunch of data while also doubling as redoing our strategic plan. As far as libraries are concerned, we need to have an updated strategic plan and action plan filed with the state in order to have access to certain grant services. So that's important. But more important than that, having a strategic plan, you just need that to provide a structured pathway for the library to improve its offerings and make sure that you're providing what the community values and needs. So we kicked everything off in March of 2025. I'd had conversations with my board of trustees. They were in favor of this as well. And one of them, Lindsay Baker, was voted to kind of co-chair a committee with me to redo the strategic plan. Our first order of business was we hired Sage Consulting Services, and we worked throughout the process with a consultant. Her name is Barbara Alevras. It took us about 10 months to go through everything. We started out forming a strategic plan, what was it called? Strategic Planning Advisory Committee that was made up of myself and Lindsay, other Board of Trustee members, some members of the Friends of the Library, a few members of the staff, one of yourselves, Dan was there, as well as just a few community members. And together with that group, we also conducted a variety of surveys, focus groups, SOAR exercises, just to really collect a lot of data from the community as far as what do they want from their library. So I'm going to jump ahead to explain what we found, but in the meantime, the process was wrapped up in December, and the Board of Trustees voted to approve on January 5th. So we do have the new plan. As far as what we learned, there were a number of kind of key takeaways that I'll go through. So one of the most important things that a lot of the feedback cited was the library's welcoming environment and dedicated staff were core strengths. There was a lot of conversation about just how much the community valued the individual staff members and their relationships with them. There's also been growing community demand for increased staff capacity and a more modern, flexible space. I don't think it's too forward to say that the Auburn Public Library building is getting on in years and needs some modernizing. But in general, everyone in the community just kind of asked for more of what we provide, more programs, more services, more materials, increased, more flexible space. Especially they emphasized meeting rooms, study areas, and an updated children's room. Another point was just more outreach, more visibility, more communication. The community wants to hear from the library more through different channels, just be made more aware. That's unfortunately the reality, I'm sure you all know. No matter what we do in town and how much we broadcast it, there's always people that remain unaware. So a lot of the feedback we got as far as what services the library should provide, we already provide. People just didn't know about it. So working on our outreach and communication strategy was another key point. Access to technology and digital learning is very important. Participants in the different surveys and focus groups requested additional, training on technology, access to technology, circulating technology, just all of that fun stuff. There was also an emphasis on equity, inclusion, and just the changing demographics of Auburn. People really emphasized that they wanted library services to meet the needs of the current community and for individual members of the community not to feel left behind in any way. People appreciated the strong governance and stable funding that the Auburn Public Library had to offer. There's a particular note that the SOAR analysis that we conducted at various points emphasize Auburn Public Library's positive reputation, its stable funding, and leadership alignment across different levels as key strengths. And finally, people just said they wanted a more future-ready library, something that was more dynamic. And this kind of reinforces everything about technology, outreach, space. They just want more up-to-date services. So jumping on. One of the other things that we did throughout the process, we thought it was a good opportunity to re-examine our vision statements and vision and mission statements. So I'll just read out the new ones that we came up with that have been approved by the Board of Trustees. So the library's new vision statement is, the Auburn Public Library is a community hub that promotes social engagement, creativity, personal enrichment, and lifelong learning for all community members and visitors. And our new mission statement is, with guidance and support, oops, I misspelled that, with guidance and support from the Board of Trustees, the Auburn Public Library's knowledgeable staff provide curated resources, practical services, and engaging programming in an accessible, welcoming facility in order to meet the diverse informational and recreational needs of the community. So with that all said, I'm not going to read through every single individual point, but we came up with 5 goal statements that each have 5 supporting objectives, 5 or 4 supporting objectives that kind of represent what we'll be doing going forward. So our first goal is to strengthen community connections and awareness of the library's value so that all Auburn residents of every age and background see the library as a central hub for learning, creativity, and connection. And so what this really means is we want to make people aware of what we offer, make sure that we're engaging with the community to find out what they want and make sure that they're aware of the different services that we provide. Pulling out a few points, we have develop outreach strategies to connect with community members, especially new residents, non-users, and underserved populations, and gather community feedback regularly to inform programs and services that reflect local needs. So again, it's just about communicating with the community and creating alignment between what they want and what we're able to provide. For goal statement 2, we have deliver a diverse range of programs, services, and experiences that inspire curiosity, support lifelong learning, and reflect the varied interests and needs of all community members. So this is all about expanding what the library has to offer to its community, but also continuously reassessing what the community is looking for to make sure that what we're offering is what the community wants. So for example, we have as a supporting objective, fully incorporate attendance and community feedback data into program planning and evaluation process. Moving along to number 3. We have enhance and expand the library's physical spaces to create welcoming, flexible, and accessible environments that support community building, creativity, learning, and exploration. Again, this is what I spoke about earlier. The building is feeling a little dated, and we want to make sure we're taking advantage of all opportunities in order to make it feel a little newer, a little bit more capable of meeting those community needs. So as one of my points, I've got plan and advocate for long-term facility improvements that meet community growth and needs. Jumping to statement number 4, grow and sustain a skilled, motivated, happy, and effectively staffed team that delivers exceptional library service that continuously meets the community's evolving needs. So as I said, one of the main takeaways that we got from the information that we collected was just how important the staff was to library patrons. They really valued those people. And I know, for example, when 2 of our staff were out on long-term leave, we heard a lot about where are they? Are they coming back? Yeah, we promise they're coming back. So one of the emphases that we'll be placing going forward is on both growing our staff so that we've got enough people to be able to meet the service and resource needs that the community has, but also focusing on professional development, on growing the skills and abilities of the staff that we already have. And finally, the last goal statement, secure the library's future through strategic advocacy, transparent stewardship, and diversified funding to steadily expand and enhance services, staff, and facility improvements. It's kind of a no-brainer. Ultimately, a great library requires a great source of funding to be able to pay for the staff and services. So this goal statement is just all about making sure we're examining all options as far as funding our services and our staff. All right, so wrapping up, what are we doing next with all of this? So I know there's always concerns whenever there's a strategic plan that like, okay, you've got this document and now it's just going to sit on a shelf and never be used. This is a very active living document for us. So going forward, we are actually going to develop annual action plans based specifically off of, we're going to take those supporting objectives and turn those into action items that will influence the library's activities year by year going forward. And we also have to file those with the state to gain access to grant funding. So this is going to be a document that we will be referring to and utilizing regularly going forward. We will also be submitting biannual, so that's twice a year, not every other year, reports to the Library Board of Trustees on the progress that we're making both on our action plans and on our overall strategic plan process. And these action plans will also function kind of as evaluations for the non-union staff who will have personnel evaluations. Completion of the action items in the plan will be kind of how we evaluate how staff are doing. And we'll give regular updates to our residents as well, both in the annual town report and also just in updates through social media and the library's listservs. So wrapping up, I would just like to thank everyone who was involved in helping us put together this strategic plan, both the members of the Strategic Planning Advisory Committee, as well as all the residents of Auburn who participated in the various surveys, SOAR exercises, and focus groups. Does anyone have any questions about any of that?
Yeah, any questions?
I do. So I know you said a lot of this stuff will take an investment, so we should be investing in the community. I guess my question is, what kind of benchmarking has been done and similar sized communities, also local communities, and where do we want to exceed those benchmarks and where are we already exceeding and where are we deficient? And I just want to, knowing that there's investment and an ask coming, what are we prioritizing and where are we going to get the most value? I do value the library, so I'm not trying to say anything, but knowing the constraints, I want to make sure we're focusing in the right areas and love to hear how you guys are prioritizing. And
Yeah, I mean, I would say personally, and this is just kind of anecdotally and what I've observed working in a variety of different libraries, definitely prioritizing the staff, bringing on board the staff that we need to accomplish the services, because everything else is really contingent upon that. Even if we have all sorts of materials or we're bringing in all sorts of programs, the largest constraint is with staffing. So hoping to be able to hire some new people, expand the hours of some of the people that we have on board right now. As far as what we're going to be focusing on, we're actually in the process of drafting since we just wrapped this up a few weeks ago, we're drafting our action plan for this year right now. So I can probably have a better idea of specificity of what we're focusing on in a few weeks.
and I'll watch those meetings as well and partake. I am excited that they've expanded the hours. So that is an awesome thing for the community as a whole. And love to see what more is coming. But as far as supporting those investments, I'd love to see some numbers around that. I know we can't always get an ROI in government, but understanding where we're prioritizing it and understanding the community's asks and how we can do that, I think that's essential to the community. So I appreciate the work that you guys and the committee did. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll also have our budget proposal for next year coming up in a month or so as well.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So before I say anything, just full disclosure that my wife is the vice chair of the library board of trustees. I just want to put that out there. However, if you think we all agree on everything at the same time, you'd be wrong. I do want to thank you for the strategic plan. My first question was going to ask why have a strategic plan, why it's important. You had already answered that. It unlocks a vast majority of funding and support that we get on the state level. But I'm like Mr. Chambers. I'm very excited about the extended hours, about the positive changes I've seen in the library. I go to the library probably 2 to 3 times a month, if not more. I'm in there a lot, and I have seen the changes that have been made over the past year and a half in a very positive manner, from the staffing levels. As well, which I know that I had pushed for in previous budgets. I know members of the finance committee had as well, to fully staff up, but then look at deficiencies in other positions and make sure we're filling them. It's very evident that when you walk in there is staff. They are not just at the desk, they're mingling around, they're always accessible to answer questions, to help with technology. The return of the periodicals is a big thing for me. And the fact that you can take out the periodicals and not just the old editions, but the newest ones you can take out as well. Because you can't always sit there and read, I'd like to stay there all day and read, but I have other things demanding my time. I guess I just want to, thank you, as well as the Friends of the Public Library. They are a great support group. The Library Board of Trustees, and then yourself and your staff. The 3 working together cohesively has really made a big investment. I will, to Mr. Chambers' point, I will say that probably about 2 years ago, members of the Library Board of Trustees went and did tours of local comparative libraries in the area of similar size, similar demographics, and put together a report that they had given to the previous town manager, outlining the funding levels, the staffing levels, the number of programs that were offered, and that report was pretty stark, at least when I read it, that Auburn had a bigger budget. We were offering a lot less than those other communities. And I think that if you look at the social media, you look at the calendar, the website that you're updating, that right now our library is probably competitive now with the changes, with the support of, again, the Friends, the Library Board of Trustees working in partnership with the library director and the staff. So, there is that document. If it's not available, you should ask. I'm sure the town manager is willing to, if she has it. If not, I know the Library Board of Trustees would probably give to as well.
Certainly aware of it, and that's, again, want to leverage that to help, again, as we look at more investments and focusing that attention. And I think that's why the library was able to get improvement so quickly as well. So I want to keep that focus, and really, again, anytime we're asking, I want to make sure we justify. And if we're very deficient in an area that needs some funding, I think we should look at prioritizing that, or whatever the return is. Again, return on investment, I'll continue to say that. There's only so much investment that can go around. The easy things, no cost things. Leadership is a big thing. So we're certainly paying for services, but I think that mindset and developing the staff goes a long way. Can I quantify a dollar amount on staff development? I can certainly quantify the cost, but the return is harder to quantify. So those are areas that certainly I think the community should know. While we're investing, don't expect to see a dollar return, but know that the quality is improved greatly, and the access, and like you said, the ability of staff to help residents there. I mean, certainly the ones they're helping are going to appreciate it a lot more than the people that don't even know the library hours have been extended, or, you know, that type of thing. So want to keep track of that and continue to celebrate the wins and all the development that's gone on, and a lot of great support in your area. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, we're, the town report is coming out in February, March, is that?
It's due at that time.
Yeah. So we have a full section in there that will be about, you know, the updates that have happened with the library, and going forward. Yeah, I think we'll have a lot of exciting things to talk about.
All right, I just have one question. It's
Yeah.
kind of a specific question, but
Sure.
I'm thinking about, of course, the Auburn has one newspaper, the Auburn News, that has been covering the town for quite a while. Are any of those issues digitized? And is that something that you have plans to do?
They're not as far as I know, but I don't have plans at present, but that's certainly something that's worth looking into. If that's something that the community cares about, that's certainly an option. I know the Boston Public Library and a few other efforts around the country have been making efforts to digitize local news publications and provide those services to communities. So that's definitely something we could look into.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda, we have our fire chief here. We have a board vote to apply for the fiscal year 2026 firefighter safety equipment grant program. And Steve Coleman, our chief, will tell us about that.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Annually, I come before you asking for you to allow me to apply for the Department of Fire Services Commonwealth of Massachusetts Firefighter Safety Grant. The past several years, I have sought to purchase turnout gear, protective clothing with that. I'm going to mix that up this year, and although I don't have a specific ask tonight, we are going to be evaluating some piece of fixed equipment for the new fire station. So it's either going to be the self-contained breathing apparatus air compressor, a gear washer, or the gear dryer. It's going to be one of those three. The document that you were provided in your packet did have the list of priorities and what is a high priority versus a low priority. All of those things that I just mentioned, including the turnout gear, they're all high priority. But in consultation with our owner's project manager, we want to have some further discussions to figure out, based on the budget and cost, will we be able to apply for maybe two of those items within the 19,000 that were allowed, maybe one item right up to the maximum. So we have until the middle of February to submit our application, but I want to have some further discussions with the OPM before we actually decide what we're going to apply for. But I think this year we're going to try for a piece of fixed equipment for the fire station.
Okay, questions?
So what are you saying is driving the decision, what you're trying to do, just the cost, trying to understand the cost of each of those pieces?
Yeah, so I think the turnout gear extractor is probably going to be the most expensive. So we're going to make it, and again, there's as was noted in that, every year when you apply for this grant, the state makes you go through a webinar and a Q&A, and they provide typically a little more insight into what they're focusing on. So I want to take that call with the state as well, and I want to hear from them whether or not they are putting a higher priority on protective clothing versus the gear washer and dryer, versus some other piece of equipment. Typically, there's a little bit of insight, even though they're all listed as high priority. Last year it was very much all about active shooter and ballistic protection and those kind of things. So, people that applied for that got a much higher priority. So, yeah, I think it's gonna come down to a combination of cost and really where the state is kind of guiding us in terms of saying, if you apply for this, you probably got a better chance because this is where the priorities are going this year. But again, I've actively sought quotes for each of those three things. And we're going to see whether or not we're better off to maybe bundle a couple of pieces together within that 19, or just try to do a single standalone.
Okay. And at the end of the day, these are all things that are needed.
Correct. So all of these items that I just mentioned are on the FF&E list. That stands for furnitures, fixtures, and equipment. So they're all on the FF&E list for the station. So if we were successful in getting this in the grant, it would either free up money within the FF&E in case we had to cut. And that's really kind of where we're at right now. Technically, we have 2 more grant cycles before we actually open the station. So one of the reasons that I'm going for the fixed equipment right now is because we don't have bids received. So if we get a bid and we come in under budget and we're able to, fund everything, within the project budget, I think it takes a little pressure off for next year. I'll probably be back here looking for protective clothing. That's usually the highest on our priority list. But not knowing where we sit with the budget because we haven't gone out to bid yet, I wanted to do fixed equipment.
Thank you.
Questions? We apply for this grant every year, correct? And do we usually get and receive?
We do. We always receive it because, again, I only target high priority items, and protective clothing is typically a high priority item. So usually we're able to get 5 or 6 sets of turnout gear. There was a couple of years where they pulled a little back on funding, so we didn't get the full 19,000, but the lowest we received, I think, was 15,600. But typically we do receive an award on an annual basis.
Okay. And that's it. Thank you. Questions?
I just would appreciate it when you have decided what you're going to fund it, just send us a quick email. just so
Absolutely.
we're aware. That's my only thought. Thanks.
So, Chief, I just have a couple questions. So I know that we, as you know, the amount we can apply for up to 19,000 is based on our population.
19.
19.
Yep.
Yeah. How much have we gotten in the past 2-3 years from this grant?
I think if we go back 3 years, I think we received the full 19 2 years, and I want to say that year we got 15,600 was in the last 3.
And this is a competitive grant. We're not guaranteed this money.
That's correct. There are many departments that do not get the grant.
So, I just want to thank you for strategically applying based on what they're sending the signal they want to fund, and I just want to take advantage of the time that I have for the 3 people that may be watching this live, and maybe the 10 that'll watch it at home. Often we see on social media, why are we doing this thing called the MBTA Communities Act? Why does the town meeting care about this? I just want to let everybody know that the first condition for us to apply and receive this grant is that we must be able to certify that we will or currently comply with the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40A, subsection 3A, known as the MBTA Communities Act. So if town meeting did not take the foresight that it has, and the steps it has taken consistently since I was in town meeting 3 to 4 years ago, to bring us into compliance with this act, we could not apply for this critical grant that has provided critical turnout gear to ensure the safety of our firefighters and frontline personnel. So anyone who doubts why we're doing that, this is one of the exact reasons why we're doing it. So I just wanted to, I'll get off my soapbox now, but I just wanted to make sure that people understand that us not complying has direct impacts on our ability to secure not just money, but actual equipment that and I will just say that on a personal note, I have family who are firefighters who have passed away due to on-the-job cancer that is traced back to not having adequate turnout gear. So this is a real issue, and this is why the town is doing that. So if anyone doubts it, this is one of the critical reasons why we're doing it. So thank you, Chief, for everything you've done for the department and making sure that our firefighters are protected. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I will make a motion to apply for the fiscal year 2026 firefighter safety equipment grant program with the understanding that the chief will send us an email through the town manager on what is eventually applied for.
I'll second.
Oh, so we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay, we're all set.
Thank you very much.
Do I hear a motion to move up town manager item number 9A, the update in the Goddard Centennial Celebration?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, we have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Okay. You ready?
Thank you. I'm always ready to talk about Dr. Goddard. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to provide this update. So I have the honor of chairing the internal committee, which also has grown to include the Friends of group. We basically just kind of merged the two together, and we have a very enthusiastic group of citizens who are very into this world, you know, of space and innovation. And they've been an absolute pleasure to work with. I've learned more about rockets than I ever thought I was going to learn in my life, but it's been really cool. It's been a very interesting process. So where we are at this point is we're really only about 6 weeks away. I hope we do not have the weather in 6 weeks that we just had the last couple of days. That would put a damper on things, but we're about 6 weeks away from the Centennial Weekend. So really the things that we're focusing on here in Auburn is on Saturday the 14th. We have a family fun festival that we're running at Goddard Park behind the fire station on Auburn Street. On that day, we will be rededicating Goddard Park at 2:30 in the afternoon. There'll be a day-long events, though. Gates open at 10 a.m. and it'll go until 5 p.m. Again, hopefully some of the snow has dissipated so people can kind of see some of the new features that have been put in at the park in terms of lighting and the sidewalk and those kind of things. Excuse me. The replica rocket that Bay Path High School is rebuilding for us. Originally, it's sent there for a refurb, but that rocket has been sitting in that case for 50 years. And although the aluminum pieces held up well, the steel was in much need of repair. So they ended up, they are reconstructing and they're rebuilding an entirely new rocket out of metal. They're going to utilize the old aluminum pieces that are on there. So those will still be the original aluminum pieces from 15 years ago. So the replica will be back in its display case for the rededication. So we just have, there's a series of food trucks and games. There'll be a lot of things we're working in conjunction with the library because we're not only going to be rededicating Goddard Park that day, but we're going to be dedicating the bridge that separates the library and Goddard Park to the Pappas family. And so the library will have some events that day, so we're hoping that there's a lot of cross-traffic between the parcels over the bridge, and there'll be a STEM panel at the library. We were hoping to have astronauts for the weekend, but with the cut of some of the federal funding and programs, that is at risk. So we're working on back channels to try to secure an astronaut. Yeah, it's like we're in a back alley trying to get an astronaut to come to the Goddard festivities, but we are hoping that we're going to be able to pull that off. So Saturday should be a good day. Like I said, the official rededication of the park will be at 2:30. Sunday we're taking off because that's the St. Patrick's Day parade in Worcester, and we did not want to compete with that. So then on Monday, same hours, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., the golf course will be open. Again, we'll have a series of food trucks. We'll have some events. We're in conversations with the Historical Society about moving some of their artifacts to the golf course to be on display at the clubhouse. We've partnered with several of the rocket associations and the rocket groups, and they've donated Stomp rockets, and they've donated some other types of rockets that they'll be working, kind of helping kids build rockets and firing rockets maybe every half hour or 40 minutes throughout the day. We have reenactors coming who will be actually reenacting and portraying Dr. Goddard and Esther, and there was I don't know if anybody knows his name, but there was another gentleman that was there assisting that day. And we're going to recreate the launch. Again, at 2:30, the reenactors will recreate the launch. One of the rocket clubs has donated their half-scale rocket that will be fired. There's a lot of things are moving in the net, over the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of nationwide coverage being picked up on this. Eventually, I would say within the press cycle usually works within that 30-day window. But I think you're going to start seeing some international coverage. WGBH, there's a whole bunch of people that have already reached out to Charles Slatkin, who's the owner and director of the Wonder Mission, who owns the Goddard House. He's just been reached out within the last couple of weeks by a lot of national and international publications. So the event has eyes on it. Again, like I said at town meeting, we don't know what we're planning for. We're, from a public safety perspective, just switching gears, we've been working closely with the police department on the public safety plan. We are planning on an event for 30,000 people, which includes the parking plan, transportation, all of those kind of things. So it's going to be a fun weekend. I see that there's one of the trifolds on there. We're going to be within the next week or two, because we've been trying to coordinate some of this press with the Wonder Mission. Last week I did an interview with the Telegram and Gazette in conjunction with the Wonder Mission on the event. So I think within the next week or two you're going to start seeing a lot more between newspaper and television and those kind of things on the event. But the committee's working hard. We have a good plan. We have a lot of fun events, between both days. So we're excited.
Great, thank you. Any questions?
So has there been encouragement for the students? I see 2:30. I don't know if there's busing or if we're going to be able to get some participation at that level.
Yeah, so thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Chambers. So we have been working closely with the school department, and the school committee voted that Monday, the 16th, will be a half a day of school. So they had a professional development day within that week. So they voted just to move their professional development day. So on Monday, the 16th, the kids will be getting out of school early. So that will make the buses available to us by 1:30 in the afternoon. So the school buses will be part of our transportation plan, be somewhere around 1:30 until the close of the event. But we're thankful that the school committee did that, because that allows kids to get home, maybe eat something, and then be able to make it to the golf course by 2:30 for kind of the formal presentation and the reenactment and things like that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one other follow-up, just in terms of the schools. Dr. Chamberlain and her staff, they've actually put together a curriculum that they're going to be delivering on Goddard in the schools. And then the schools are going to be participating in the event as well. We have children that are going to be reading from Dr. Goddard's journals, both on the Saturday and the Monday. The chorus is working on some stuff. So we have a lot of good school participation. So we thank Dr. Chamberlain and the school committee for that.
Thank you. And I've been on this committee, and it's very, very exciting to hear everything that's happening. And there's a lot of enthusiasm and people having some great ideas. We should mention also there's a scavenger hunt based out of the library, correct?
Yes. Yep. So 3 weeks. 3 weeks prior to the event, the library will be announcing the scavenger hunt, and there's 3 physical locations that you'll have to go to. All those 3 are in Auburn, and then there's 2 that you can do virtually. And then when you bring your card on Saturday, or really any time after that, once you bring your completed card to the library, you'll get some sort of a rocket-themed prize. So the Friends of the Auburn Library have graciously, putting on the scavenger hunt. So there's a lot of cool things going on.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, all set? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, continuing back, next item is 6C, which would be the police and DPW update and report on the status of signage improvements, pavement marking improvements, enforcements, and other safety improvements for the following items. Do you want
Madam
to?
Chair, can I make a motion that we hold this until the next meeting? I know that a critical staff member was called away and unable to attend.
Did you want to add anything to that, Ms. Vecchio?
No, thank you.
Okay,
That's good.
all right, so we have a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to postpone this. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. So this is postponed. Our next item is Select Board General Items. We have gift acceptances in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, 53, Section 53A. So we have a gift of $100 from R&J Natupsky for the Fire Department gift account. Do I hear a motion?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the gift of $100 from R&J Natupsky for the fire department gift account.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to accept this gift, all with gratitude. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. All right, and next we're going to have the discussion and possible board vote to approve the wage theft committee policy. So Patrick's the chair, right?
Yes.
So Patrick, would you come on up? Patrick Jones is the chair of that committee. Do you want to go there or here?
I'll work from here because
Okay.
if there's some questions, some of the committee is here, so it'd be easier for us to answer.
Great, thank you very much. And you'll introduce the committee to us too?
I will.
Thank you.
First of all, Madam Chair, members of the Select Board, Town Manager, Town Administration, I want to thank you. We've been at this for just a little bit more than a year, and I'm going to get to them, but we're just really pleased that you were able to get us onto the agenda for the evening and that you're having the meeting because it's been quite the last couple of days. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to bring everybody back to get them into focus with the prior efforts. So our committee originated as a result of efforts made 3 or 4 years ago by the Select Board member, Mr. La Liberty. And then recently, just about a year ago, a little more than a year ago, you voted to form this committee to revisit it. Based on the selection criteria, the representation of that the board asked for, we formed a unique and well-rounded group with all the boxes checked. We were fortunate that we had a sufficient number of individuals that applied, and we are as follows: a citizen of Auburn, Mr. Jeff Pond; one town meeting member, Mr. Jason Kubert; an individual from the trades, Mr. Dave Perry; a member from the chamber, Ms. Carrie Cunningham; 2 finance committee members, which is Mr. Steve Consiglio and myself, Patrick Jones, and a member of your Board of Selectmen, Mr. Todd Corain. I just want to mention that we did stay focused on the charge to the best, that was our main goal. And some of the highlights I wanted to just bring up are that we kept it to a very narrow scope as requested in the charge, and we kept it policy to large construction projects. The policy, we work to ensure that the policy minimizes risk and financial burden to the taxpayers. We met with the town manager and the CFO, showed them the information, and determined that the needed information to manage this policy exists already, and it's been received and it's in the town paperwork. In other words, it's part of the normal process that we have, and further resulted in no need to hire any additional employees. The whole document was vetted by an attorney. So those are just some highlights that we ensured as a board. I want to just go over a little bit of the policy because everybody's read it. We did end up taking Mr. La Liberty's draft, which was about 5 pages at the time, and the work that he had done. And the town attorney had 100% control over sections 4 through 10. Our committee's efforts were mostly on sections 1XX through 3XX, and then 11, as well as the wage theft prevention certification, which I'm just holding up. It was a 1-page attachment that went with the policy. So there's a couple things I just want to mention. The there was a full section with regards to TIFs that was not included. At this time, it was taken out as we need to meet with the town attorney to review it as a committee, and then we will be bringing it back to you hopefully with an amendment. The last thing I just want to mention before, two things I want to mention is by adding this policy to the procurement process, it enhances our efforts as a town to send a message that we are fully aware of this type of problem. It does so by setting proper expectations at the right time in the bidding process and protects the taxpayers' money. The board also, myself as a chair, I just want to thank, not only as I have all of you for resurrecting this, but also we worked through the holiday last year and all of this year, and a lot of the people that are on our board have family members, they have other committee commitments, they have personal interests, and they sacrificed a lot of time over the last few months. And I just want to recognize that we wanted to get in front of this because we have some construction projects ahead of us and we wanted to try to get in there. And everybody just sacrificed a lot of time and effort, and I want to recognize that at this time. So with that, we will take any questions that you have.
Can you define what the wage theft is for the viewers at home?
Sure. So in its simplest form, it's not handing a payroll correctly. It's not identifying characteristics of the payroll, putting people in proper classifications, possibly not giving them a paycheck for work hours, using maybe a punch card. It's just for the lack of a better way of describing it, it's moving yourself in a dishonest way anyway from a payroll obligation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Any questions, please?
Yep. So what kind of, if they're found not to be compliant with this, what kind of teeth is there for the town? Are there consequences for non-compliance?
Sure. So in your policy, or in the policy that we've written, the primary purpose is to discourage and to let them know at the beginning. That's the whole purpose of doing it in our view. But what we have added, and we have rewritten this several times up until the other night. So there is a section, and I don't know if someone on the board has the exact section ready, but for instance, this is going to get elevated to the state. That question is probably going to come up. We have this at the state level. Our intention is to keep it at the state level. There are consequences in here. The consequences don't take place until later on when someone tries. The first time what we're doing is we're saying, okay, look, we caught this, so now what we're going to do is this employee of yours is going to the state, and we've got this information that you checked off the boxes, you signed the paperwork, along with our payroll records, we're going to support that to go right to the state. Once that happens, that puts a mar on that construction project with that particular individual. And our hope is that, Mr. Chambers, or Selectman Chambers, our hope is that everybody is on the ball enough that this person doesn't come back and revisit it again and again and again. So there are additional consequences, but our goal is to put them in there as a sort of to discourage them from, knowing that, we're watching you. So there are consequences, but our hope is that we don't have enough penalties that we get to those stages.
So, Mr. Jones, if you don't mind,
Sure.
just to draw Mr. Chambers' attention to it, it's page 5 on the policy, down bottom, it's 3XX-6, and then there's 4 different steps that the town can take above what the state issues, but these do not go into effect until the state, either a state civil court or an administrative board, which typically handles these kind of complaints, have already ruled that the contractor violated the terms. And this is if the project is ongoing, they're a current contractor in the middle of a project. We can either order a cessation of work on the project until compliance is obtained. We can order the withholding of payment due under any contract or subcontract until compliance is obtained. Again, the goal is to ensure compliance. We can order, in extreme cases, the permanent removal from any further work on the project. And we could also do liquidated damages payable to the town in the amount of 5% of the dollar value in the contract. And as Mr. Jones said, sections 4XX through 10XX were inserted by the town attorney to establish the legal protocol if the town were to go through and act on any one of those four. But the goal here is to, by having this policy and including the sign-off form as part of the RFP, anyone who is qualified for the RFP has to confirm that, one, they know about the policy, two, that they will comply with all state, federal laws as well as the policy, and they will, do all of the data, requirements. And three, by having the policy, if a company has a history within the last 5 years of being found in violation of either state law, or, by a court or by one of the administrative boards that handles it, the town can disqualify them from the RFP process. And that's the biggest point of why the town wants this, is because without that, there's no mechanism in state law, current bidding and state law, that allows us to throw out a contractor that has that negative history. As you know, for good or for bad, through Massachusetts general law, we are a low bid state. So we have to take the lowest qualified bid. By putting this checkbox and putting this policy in place, we can now use this as one of the qualifying conditions to say, no, well, you may be a low bid, you're not a qualified low bid, and we can set them aside if they have a negative history over the last 5 years.
I appreciate that, and I was able to read. I wanted more for the audience to understand that there are consequences. I know we have things that don't necessarily have consequences. I also want to try to get an understanding. In the bid process, if they choose not to adhere to this, now they're no longer on the bid list, what does that look like as far as we're already maybe not getting enough qualified bidders? Does this disqualify too many people that we have to keep going out to rebid, or that we can't get something within our budget because now there's additional administration and oversight to these costs? So I'm thinking long-term, and look, I don't want to work with any bad actors, so I'm all for having a policy in place that disqualifies people that are known to be bad actors. But I'm just wondering if there's qualified people that would, one, refuse to sign something like this or not want to be part of the process because they don't have the administration to adhere to this.
So the vast majority of paperwork that is required is already required anyways, whether we have this policy in place or not. This just again, it adds that additional local level. So no contract has to do extra work. They're already supposed to be doing this stuff. And this is just, again, adding an extra level, telling them that we're watching, make sure you do it. As Mr. Jones said, he met with the town manager as well as the CFO, showed them a draft of this and said, is this adding anything extra on your plate or on the OPM's plate that you do not have the capability to do? And the answer was, no, we already have to do this anyways. It's giving us a little bit more teeth. I will say that while there are bad actors, and we certainly do not want them in town, the vast majority of contractors that are bidding on these projects are good contractors that are following the rules. This is just a way for us to put the bad actors on notice that, no, you're not coming into this town, don't even try it. There are communities, the city of Worcester, Amherst, Lynn, several other local communities that have very large projects, $200 million high schools, that kind of stuff, that have no shortage of contractors willing to bid. I know that the fire station is probably our largest contractor, our largest, construction project in the foreseeable future. And there is a whole host of contractors that have already gone through an initial screening, pre-qualified. And I think the vast majority of them, I'm fair to say, 99% of them would pass this as well. Okay. So I don't think we're putting ourselves in any competitive disadvantage.
I do have a quick question. I know you said that there is one section you are revisiting with town council.
Yes.
Are you looking for us to vote today to get ahead of any bids for the fire?
Actually, that's part of the
Okay.
reason why we're here this evening is the section that had been removed really is regarding TIFs, and it does work with the policy. The current situation is we've got some verbiage in it that the attorneys feel it should be written just a little bit different, but we think that they're not, in the way we envision the policy being secure with this verbiage and the approach that they're taking is something we believe that the committee just needs to sit and work through with the attorneys. So our goal, because of the 30th being the RFP process for the fire station, is to get this part of the policy, because the part that's been removed is just TIFs related.
Okay.
And that we can amend and come back, and this will have already gotten into the packet, and then the amendment can just follow. If we wait for that, then this will not be a part of that RFP process.
Thank you for that.
Any other questions? Dan?
Yeah, just through you to the town manager. Is it possible to track how many people do submit a bid that do not complete the form after, should we adopt this tonight?
Through the chair, yes, we can track which companies refuse to sign the form.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily concerned about the companies, just the number.
Absolutely, yes.
And I think Mr. Jones pointed out the most important thing that any policy making body should be aware of. Nothing, we're not on Mount Sinai. Nobody's taking off sandals and getting, the stone plates. Tablets, we can always amend, and we should always be looking to amend as events warrant it. Obviously, we're not going to amend to the point where we're going to do business with people who are not honest and are not following the law, because, well, they're probably going to cheat on other things other than wages, and we're not going to be very happy with that. So I do want to thank the committee for all their hard work, especially these last couple of months. I read through it like 6 times. While I'm not totally thrilled with all of the language, I'm very appreciative of all the effort that you put in, and look forward to getting a chance.
When as I stated earlier, we looked at risk, we really sort of dissected each paragraph and the words. There were many times where we shifted a word, and that's sort of where we're the TIF. There were a couple of times where we just felt that it was important to recognize that if it were said differently, and when I say minimize risk, when it goes beyond us, if you're trying to settle a discrepancy with the way the policy is written, we didn't want to have to put the onus on, say, the procurement officers like the CFO and the town manager, where now all of a sudden we've given them verbiage in a policy where we all understood what it meant, but then now the town manager's got to stop what they're doing and then have a meeting with these individuals to explain our policy. So just changing some of the verbiage and making it less and tighter, we felt was a way to minimize risk in a lot of, and to really bring the clarity to the top. We think Mr. La Liberty really had a good basis for what he did. It was just unfortunate that he didn't get the chance to complete it, and we were really pleased that, we were also given other resources. We looked at other communities. We looked at Mass General Law. We did a lot of research and sort of dotted our I's and crossed our T's to write the policy in a way so that anybody could go on to the RFP process and go, I understand that I don't need to ask, I don't need to stop town administration and town management to be able to ask these questions. Our belief is that we've written a very clear document, policy.
And just to go back to an important point that Mr. Carpenter made, one of the reasons why, one of the first meetings we had, we discussed whether there should be a bylaw for that town meeting adopts or a policy that the select board adopts. And one of the reasons why we went with a select board policy was so that it can be more fluid and easier to change if we find out down the road that certain parts are not working or needs to be amended. It's easier to come back to this board to do that rather than wait for town meeting, which meets only twice a year, and then to have to go through that process. So that's why we went with a select board policy. It has just as much teeth, but is a lot more flexible, a lot more easier to amend if needed.
Good, good point. Any other questions?
I
Okay.
will just close with one thought. If you have a question before you vote tonight or after you vote, I think the heart of, because I do have some other paragraphs, we had moved some stuff around because of removing the TIF. So I want to thank Mr. Corain for taking a moment to find that, because I knew it was there. I just couldn't in the moment get my hands on it. But I do know that in Section 1, Part 5, really sort of just is the heart and soul of this, because we're really looking to do business with the appropriate people. And that's really what the whole drive for this was, to just work with people. You know, we want to be as transparent as possible so that later we've set the expectations up front again, so that later on we don't have this confusion or problem. So I want to thank you for your time and getting us on your agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do I hear a motion?
Madam Chair, right before I make the motion, I just wanted to thank the members of the Wage Theft Committee. We, as Mr. Jones said, we had representatives from Finance Committee, Town Meeting, the trades, the Chamber of Commerce, regular citizens, and they put in a lot of hard work and a lot of research on this. They didn't take other people's words for granted. They went and researched it themselves and did a lot of work. So thank you for your time and commitment. And I know that we're going to continue on the TIF and meet with the attorney. So thank you in advance for your continued time and commitment on this. With that, I will make a motion to approve the Wage Theft Committee Responsible Employer Policy as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. I want to say thank you to everyone on the committee, too. I know it's you put in a lot of time, and that's certainly something that people don't see. So thank you very much for doing that. Thank you.
Thank
Chief
you.
Coleman?
Madam Chair. Thank you. I as well want to thank the committee. This is something I've been following for the last year, obviously in anticipation of going out to bid for the fire station project. So there was a lot of work that went into this, and I just want to thank the committee as well. In preparation, not knowing whether or not we were going to have the meeting, be able to meet this week because of the snow, I had already been in conversations with our OPM and our architect, and we were going to include language that referenced our policy, just in the event that you were not able to bid this tonight, and then we were going to add it as an addendum later. But now with your vote tonight, we won't need to do that. So I would just ask, just if I could get a clean copy. I have seen the draft, so I'm not sure who possesses the actual document. But if I could get a clean copy without the watermark on it, I will get that over to our OPM and architect so it can be included in the bid package that goes out on Friday.
Chief, I can send that to you tonight.
Thank you.
I'll just have to work with the town manager to assign an actual policy number to it. I haven't followed online what our policy number, what our next policy number is.
Submit it.
Yep.
I believe the staff takes care of that, right?
That
The
is
policy
correct.
number?
That is correct.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Our next item is a 8D, a board discussion and vote to sponsor a warrant article to be sent to the annual town meeting that allows volunteers to work on behalf of a senior resident who is physically unable to provide services to the town themselves. Okay?
So, Madam Chair, I just want to, so I know this was before us at our last meeting, and I sort of gave some of the background on this for the past 3 years, I guess now. I've asked the question of our assessing staff that the tax abatement program for the veterans allows a volunteer to work on their behalf if they're unable to, but that was not in place for our senior work off. And my question was, is it possible, simply because in a lot of cases, I think our senior residents or senior citizens may be less able to work than the vast majority of necessarily veterans might be able to. Working in conjunction with them, I contacted a contact that I had from Department of Labor Services, Local Services, DLS on the state level, and they had provided us with the section in the Mass General Law that allows us to do that. I had provided draft language, I want to say a couple weeks ago to staff, but I said, full disclosure, please vet this. We brought this back to the board at our last meeting to officially ask them to vet this language and then bring it back for us to discuss. So this is essentially this will build off of what this board has been doing over the past 2 town meetings now to expand the property tax abatement programs, in this case for seniors.
Do we have any questions? Do we hear a motion?
I will make a motion that the select board sponsor a warrant article to be sent to the annual town meeting to allow an approved representative to perform services to the town for an eligible taxpayer under Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5K, who is physically unable to provide services to the town.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Thank you. Okay, so on our, next on our agenda, we have tabled items. We have minutes from September 29, 2025. These were held from our last meeting earlier this month, and we have minutes from November 10th, 2025. These minutes were held from our meeting earlier this month.
I had no corrections.
Okay.
Thank you to the committee.
To either?
Letting me wait. To either the November 10th or September 29th. Nope.
Okay. So, do I hear a actually, do I hear a motion?
So I'll make a motion to accept the September 29th, 2025 minutes as presented, as well as the November 10th, 2025 minutes as presented.
Thank you. And we have now also minutes from the December 8th, 2025 meeting.
Yes, I did have an amendment, which I shared with Danielle earlier today, but I can say it for the record if people want.
Can we take a vote on the first 2 since they're not amended?
We don't have to vote.
Sorry, I'll second. Yeah, you just have to accept them as read.
Yep. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, so on the 10th of December on page 8, it's the second paragraph, second sentence. It's just related to the special town meeting, and the correction has already been made, but it is citing lower signature requirements for special town meeting, and it's actually higher signature requirements, but that's already been changed. But if we need it for the record, that's, I sent it earlier to Danielle, and she's already made the correction, but
Right, and that's the email we all received. Is that correct?
I just sent it to you. I didn't send it to everybody.
Oh, okay. Well, she can send that out to everybody. So do I hear,
I just make a motion that we accept it with that minor amendment. And
okay, thank you.
Second.
All right, so does anyone have any other questions or comments?
No.
Can we talk about our next meetings, please? They're in February, correct? Obviously. And we have 3 meetings in February?
That is correct.
So we're looking at the second,
The next meeting is actually February 9th.
okay, yep,
The board voted to have another meeting on February 17th, which is the day after the holiday,
yep,
and February 23rd,
great, thank you.
of course.
17th is just for the budget. We shouldn't have any extra items on that. That should solely be for the budget. We need to commit at least 1 meeting for the budget. And if we're lucky, we can get it out the door on the 17th, but, I think it deserves its own meeting.
Yeah, we'll do as much as we can on that night for the budget, yep. We'll take a look at what the needs of the town are too, okay? Any other questions? Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, we're adjourned.